guys, Ninja Zane here outside Best Buy on the launch night of the Nintendo Switch 2. As you can see, there is a pretty big line behind me. Pretty exciting. I already got a pre-order in, but we're going to be kind of journeying through this pre-order launch, so I'm pretty excited. As you can see, the line is pretty long for this Best Buy launch. Like I said, I already have a pre-order in, so I will just be able to go into the pre-order line. But there's a lot of people that are still wanting a Nintendo Switch 2 here, so I'm hoping that a lot get it. But if not, you know, I got mine in, so it should be exciting. The bag has been secured. That line was about an hour and a half long of waiting, but let's go ahead and unbox it now. All right, so we are back to the apartment. It took a little bit of time to get all that done. It's a lot longer of a wait than I thought it was going to be, but now that we have the bag secured, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Switch 2 unboxing. I do have the Mario Kart World Edition, so it has the bundle. Did cost a little bit more than I thought, but let's go ahead and get this unboxed because I definitely want to get started with playing this. So as you can see here on the box, pretty standard. You see the Nintendo Switch 2, and then you can see the Mario Kart World. That is the digital code in there as well. And then you can see on the side, you can see that there are the Joy-Cons, the new Joy-Con 2s, and then there is the Switch that's in tabletop mode. On this side, you can see the Switch 2 that's just going to be in handheld mode, which is pretty cool. And then on the back, you can see the Switch 2 in the new dock, which is going to be great. And there's just a bunch of, you know, mumbo jumbo on the bottom. So let's go ahead and get that opened. So we're going to flip this over. Sorry if this is a little awkward. I'm doing this from the opposite point of view of you guys. So opening this a little bit here. And then I'm guessing that we need to flip it open this way. Kind of like the Switch 1 box. So we go ahead and open this up. And as you can see here, we have all of our internals. We have our Joy-Cons 2, and then we have our Switch. Definitely a bigger screen from what I'm seeing just off the bat. Let's take a look at our new Joy-Cons. You can see here is the right Joy-Con, and you can see our famed C button already. As you can see, I wonder if this is alive. It doesn't look like it, but our new adjustable pointer here, which is kind of cool. That's going to be how you detach it from the new Switch. You can see our buttons are a little bit bigger on this, so that'll be pretty cool. Our buttons are a lot bigger, so this is actually going to be a much better controller for me, because I'll actually be able to control all of the buttons a little better. I can press the buttons and then I don't feel like my thumb is a little bit cramped. It might be a little bit worse for smaller hands, but luckily the Joy-Con 1 controllers are compatible with this, so that's good. So let's get the other one out as well. I do like the design of this. It's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and get the second controller out here. This is our left Joy-Con 2. I also am curious to see how the mouse function is, since you'll be able to use the mouse function hello. So that'll be pretty cool. The joystick on this one feels a little bit different. I guess the joysticks do feel different on these. I'm not sure if the motion is going to be... The original Joy-Cons didn't have a lot of range in the control sticks. These feel like they have a little bit more control. And then buttons are the same here, and the capture button. And then you have our little control sticks here too. So, and here's our little detacher. And then we'll look at the Switch console a little bit later, so let's go to the next portion. I'm sure there's something under that too, but we'll get to that part later. To kind of go with the Joy-Con controllers, we have our new Joy-Con grip. As you can see, there are not really side panels for this to go into just because of the differences with this here. So let's try clicking this in. All right, so pretty straightforward when you click it in, and then to just attach it, you're gonna press this button here, and it looks like that magnet is pretty strong when you go in there. So I'm just going to try this again. So I go right here, and it connects pretty easily, and it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere when I do this, so it definitely is good. Maybe if I was to be very, very strong on it, and break it. I don't want to do that. So, but it looks like the same thing here. All right, so if I was to use this, it's still not as good as like a Pro controller would be, but I think this will be a lot better if I was playing with the Joy-Con grip than if I was just to use the original Joy-Cons in the Joy-Con grip. So let's take these out again. And if I was to use these in handheld, honestly not bad. Honestly not bad at all. I think that this will be a nice change to the original Switch. In the next part here, we have some cables. This is going to be our USB-C to C cable. Unlike the original Switch, which just had the USB-C to the power adapter, this is going to be a USB-C to C, and then we're just going to have our power box, which just is going to have the one port. I wonder if that's going to mean there's more compatibility with other of these ports. It's obviously too early to tell that now, but I'm very curious to see if that's a change there. And then last thing in here, before we look at the main console, is going to be our new dock. And you can see in here, getting that out. Here is our new Nintendo Switch 2 dock. Obviously has the Nintendo Switch 2 logo. I'm curious to see if the Nintendo Switch 1 actually fits in here, and if it does anything. That'll be a test I do later maybe. But in other words, or in other terms, we'll look at this. So it looks like when I just attached this, the back already just fell off. I'm not sure if that was supposed to happen or not. But you can see there's an AC adapter, there's an HDMI out, and there's also a LAN cable. And it looks like there are no USBs inside. There is 2 USB ports outside though. I don't know if that's different or not from the original Switch. I want to say that there was another USB port inside the Switch though. But there are 2 USB ports here. And then inside the dock here should be able to fit the Nintendo Switch 2. And for this little back compartment here, let's take a look. It looks like that's just the way it's supposed to go. I don't know if it's supposed to detach this way or not. It doesn't look like it. It looks like it just is gonna, you're just gonna pop this thing off. So I don't know if this actually is supposed to go back or not. So I guess it just attaches pretty easily there. So we have our HDMI cable. This should be a high-speed HDMI cable. Unfortunately, I don't have a 4K TV at home, but it's not going to matter too much to me as long as the load times and everything else is better. And then we have our straps here. We'll take a quick look at these just to see how they fit on our new Joy-Cons. Let's see here. Now I'm wondering if you can swap these and not make them have to go with the designated Joy-Cons. I'm assuming you can, but you never know. So let's look. So this is going to be specifically for the right one. Wait, I was just going to say I was going to do this for the left one. All right, it looks like you can switch these with the opposite Joy-Cons. And this would be your best way to use mouse mode from what I can tell. So let's, oh, this is not letting me in. Here we go. So if I want to use mouse mode, pretty cool. So that is going to be your Joy-Con straps, Joy-Con 2 straps rather. I'm going to just be saying Joy-Cons because they are Joy-Cons. They're just the second version of them. And then our last thing here is just going to be our Switch. All right, it took me a second to get this out. So now that we have the Switch 2 itself, here is the actual console. The screen looks really nice. I'm not sure if that's just because it's a new screen, probably, but it is just going to be an LCD screen. It's not an OLED screen like the Nintendo Switch OLED. I assume that they will make a Nintendo Switch 2 OLED at some point, but I'm not too really hurt. I don't play a lot of handheld mode. I do play a lot at my lunch at work, but that's about it. So for streams and everything else and just playing normal casual games, this will be fine for me because I'll play mostly in TV mode. But let's take a look here at the new kickstand. From what I understand, it's very similar to the OLED kickstand, but I never had the OLED, so let's take a look. You can go back pretty far with this thing, it looks like. Yeah, it looks like you can go pretty far back. Like just like the OLED kickstand, and if you just wanted to go a little bit back, you can also do that. And let's take a look here with connecting the Joy-Cons. So obviously connecting it this way, it should just snap in just like that. Not as clicky as the original Joy-Cons were to connect, since you had to like physically go down with it, but it does snap in, so it is cool. And you can see there is those. And then to detach, we're going to close this up. You're just going to want to open this up, and same with this one. Pretty simple, not too bad. Just for fun, can I do this backwards? I can. I don't know why you would want to do that, but if you wanted to play your Nintendo Switch 2 backwards, looks like you can do it. I don't know if I'd want to try that or not, but I'm sure it'll make for some interesting streams for some people. You could even probably, let's go ahead and put this in the dock. I'll probably do it backwards. So let's see. Snaps into the dock. It actually looks like there's more darting out than the Switch 1 did. Obviously this is weird, so we're gonna not do that, but can put this in here, snap in, and snap in. Pretty cool. And then you can see on the top here we have our power button. It looks a little bit longer than the original Switch, and then our volume buttons. The extra USB-C port is actually really helpful. And then obviously our game card looks a little bit different. So instead of going, so the game card is going to be much different, as you can see. And it looks like it should be able to detect whether it's a Switch 1 or 2 game, but that is going to be a lot more stable than the original Switch was. The other one was flimsy on the Switch 1, so that'll be really nice to see. And there's that headphone jack there too, so for people that still use headphones, you are able to use that as well. All right, that should be everything here. You can see we have our Joy-Con grip, we have our Switch 2, we have our Switch 2 dock, we got our straps, and then we have our AC adapter, power cable, HDMI cord, and then we have our Switch 2 Mario Kart World game code. So that is everything from the box here. Everything you expect in the box, but I'm very excited to see this Nintendo Switch 2 generation, and very excited to see what kind of games Nintendo brings us. So thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned to more Switch 2 content coming to the channel. Thank you very much. Okay, side note, I am setting up the Switch 2, and it actually has music for the setup. I doubt it's gonna have music on the home screen, but still, that's pretty cool. At least it has music for the setup, and it's kind of a jam. Pretty much jamming.